We've hit the next
milestone.
Yeah, it is 30.
Is it?
Episode 30.
Happy triple double figures.
Happy 30.
Happy 30.
Happy 30th birthday to our podcast.
Happy 30th episode.
I know it's not
celebration. It's not a 30th birthday, no. It is if every episode's a birthday. Yeah, no wonder Leah's always in a good mood. She always thinks every episode's the birthday party.
God. We haven't been going for 30 years yet.
No, not 30 years yet, no. Dan'd be dead if we had. You'll just be on your own, talking to my cops.
Oh, dear. Right, we're doing a Q&A, aren't we? Today?
Yeah, we've got quite a lot of questions come through between us, I think, so we'll get through some of them. Some good ones, some passive-aggressive.
Some people are waking on the wrong side of the bed when they send the questions today.
There's only one or two, really. There's only ever one or two.
There's one that's bad today.
It's probably just one person. They're just like, fuck you too.
There's always one.
Stop being like that. There's no need to be like that, is there? Right. Do you want to start? All right, hang on. We have a routine with this, don't we? Where, well, yeah, do we do one each, then backwards and forwards?
Yeah, let's just go back and forth.
We said before, didn't we? Otherwise, I just read them and it looks like I'm interviewing you. Oh, no, you were asking me, wasn't it? I was like, you do all the questions, Leah. Like, it looks like I'm interviewing you. Oh, yeah, valid point. I didn't really think of that. It's just me trying to get out of asking questions and reading. We've
got some good ones, though.
Yeah.
Haven't we? Do you want to go first or shall I go first?
Yeah, you have a little look at yours. All
right, I've got one here. How soon after having a baby can you be stage ready? Which I thought was quite a good question.
Oh.
This is actually one of my clients. I think this is very much dependent on where you are before you have the baby, because like this person is like got a decent amount of muscle, already in very good shape, already very into a training.
This is the person has
it's not an NGL question.
It's is it not? Is it an open one? So you know it is.
So I feel like with her, if you're in good shape, you can probably bounce back pretty quickly.
I mean, there was that girl. I think she's called Kirsty. She won an IFBB Pro card. Is it Kirsty?
Yeah, it is Kirsty.
You know what I mean, don't you?
I know
she looked good and all. She was like 1 year after having a baby or something like that. Yeah. I feel like she's probably an exception to the rule in a way. Because, like, I mean, obviously my missus has got a kid, so I kind of watched what that kind of looked like from close up. Physically... Yeah, I mean, you're going to be, if you're training right up to the pregnancy and all the rest of it through the pregnancy, and then you probably get back in there quite quick, probably won't lose too much muscle, probably get things back on point. How quickly does your body regulate itself to get back to its normal? Like, because a lot of the times, and this, I didn't actually know this until I was on a consult with Dr. Dean when he was talking about some things, because I do some of the blood work consults with him, and I'll just sit in with my clients and listen and whatnot. And he was telling me, and I don't want to quote the exact information, but basically what he was saying is sometimes after pregnancy, like the thyroid can be very down-regulated because the baby will take up a lot of what's needed to get that, and it can take a little bit of a while to get that sorted again afterwards. Do you know what I mean? I mean, obviously you can use replacement, but that can have, that's why sometimes people will carry a bit of weight for quite a period of time. So
you've got to wait for like your thyroid to sort of get itself back to
a few different things. This is what he was saying, and I can't remember the directly what he'd said, but it did have an effect basically, and it sometimes took a bit of time to restore. But there's a lot of things going on when the baby's being born, and we're just talking physical things. Yeah. Regardless of what you actually have to go through as a human after you've had a baby. Yeah. Have you had a cesarean? Has it been a natural birth? Have you had any little tears and like things that need to recover from, things like that often happen with having a baby and things like that? Is your midsection stretched out? How long does it take to come back to normal? Some people are lucky and they get like snap back or whatever they call it. Yeah. Some people, it takes them quite a while. They've got do you know what I mean? There's
there's a lot of factors to consider, isn't there?
There's a loads, and it's just completely person dependent. So you could say somebody could be on stage 12 months after having a baby. Yeah. I'm not saying that I wouldn't recommend that, but I wouldn't push anyone towards doing that for definite. Yeah. If they wanted to do that, that's up to them. How long's a piece of string? It's got to be dependent on you. From a position of, do you want to be prepping like with a 6-month-old baby? Yeah. I remember having a 6-month-old baby. I don't know if that'd be a great idea. Do you know what I mean? It all depends. Do you know what I mean? Is your husband, if you've got an husband or fella, or is he in the picture still? Is he at work 12 hours a day? Does he work from home? How much can he help? Can he help you out? Yeah. Are you wealthy? Have you got a nanny to help out with bits and babysitter? Or do you know what I mean? Like, there's a million different things to consider. Yeah. So the question is, I'm not giving you an answer.
Yeah. But I think like this lady was in a position where she was about to like start. She was in a position where she could have started a prep. So I think someone starting from that position is going to get back quicker potentially than someone who's like wants to compete but is like nowhere near ready to compete by the time they get pregnant.
Yeah. I mean, I think like from a personal level, and I don't know what it is, and I don't know what you're talking about or anything like that, but just spend that time with your kid initially, maybe for the first year or so at least, because like, it's no joke when they say you don't get that time back. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And people say this to me all the time, and they grow up quickly, and all these little phrases that people say. And now I'm sat here with a 6-year-old like, fuck, that time ain't ever coming back. Yeah. And all them special little moments like were important. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I mean, our preps when Daphne was a baby, and I kind of did it on purpose to get it out the way before I'd finished. Yeah. Like, she was about 9 months when I got on stage, but I don't feel like I missed anything because I was fairly present. But it was one of the main factors in me deciding to stop competing because I didn't want to miss out on anything and be hungry and tired and all these things that you would be when you've got a little kid running around. You know what I mean? One of the reasons. But I mean, everybody's different. I'm not telling anybody that they're wrong or right to do that. But I get you. Just from somebody who has got a kid who's now 6 years old, it flies and it ain't coming back. So maybe might be better by the time they get to school, or I don't know. There's no wrong or right. She's
got a couple of kids already.
Oh, really?
I would say with that, maybe it's better like to not put a time frame on it until after, because then she'll know how she feels and what she looks like and has she been able to train regularly and that sort of thing.
I feel like when people get pregnant, they instantly go into like, I want to do this after, I want to do that after, I want to do this after and stuff like that. It's like a bit of a trigger response to like being pregnant, you know what I mean? Because you're kind of like, I suppose, stuck pregnant, I suppose, until it's kind of gone.
Yeah, because our plan was to compete. That's what we were getting ready to do. And then she fell pregnant.
So you'd probably some nose. Yeah,
so the goal was already there to compete. But
don't listen to Dan. Listen to Leah because she knows you. I don't. I'm just talking generally.
I don't know what to say her name because I'm like, can I?
No, don't say her name. But I'm just talking generally, really.
So person dependent, basically.
Yes.
Right. Throw a question out. Your turn.
Sorry, not prepared. I am ill prepared. There's a clenbuterol question. Which we can do, to be fair. Because some people do seem to panic a little bit about clenbuterol, to be fair. I've had people speak to me about this and they've just been like, I think some people have bad experience with it by maybe doing the wrong thing when they started, like maybe taking a few tablets at once or something like that. And then they've because it can be a little bit anxiety like clenbuterol, but I'd say your himbean's worse for anxiety. Yeah, I
think your himbean's worse. I haven't had any bag.
I ain't had no bags.
What am I even trying to say? I haven't had any bad effects with Clen. I think as long as you start low and you build it up, you kind of get a bit. I think just when you first put it in, it throws you a bit weird. But once you've got used to it, I feel like
you
it
levels off a bit. And I think if you keep when you're on preps, you're moving a lot. So I feel like if you use it in off season when you're doing a little mini cut, it can be a bit like whoa.
Or if you take it and you sat there and you're like
But I think by the time you get into a prep, because I don't put it in until the second half of the prep. Generally speaking, so if you're doing a 20-week prep, I won't put that in until I get to 10 weeks, 12 weeks, maybe something like that. Usually about 10. So by that point, you're doing a decent amount of steps, you're doing a decent amount of cardio. So it just kind of goes in with your. Because if you're taking something that gives you a little bit of anxiety, it's good to be moving. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Whereas if you just start it straight off the back, and imagine that might be
sat there, watching TV,
and then a little bit of cramp and stuff might come and things like that.
Yeah.
But do you see bad side effects with the clients often who are on Clen? Short answer is no, not really. Never really get any comeback where it's like, I can't do this, blah, blah, blah. Very, very, very rarely. And sometimes people might have to start on 10, because I'll always start people on 20 micrograms. Yeah. They usually come in 40 mg tablets. Usually start on 20, just because that's obviously half of that tablet. Rarely, sometimes start people with 10 micrograms who are really sensitive to it. Yeah. But usually that's the ones that are real scared of they've had a bad experience in the past, like I just said, for whatever reason. Yeah. And then they're I'll have to start on 10, Then they start on 10 and go, oh, I'm completely fine. I can't feel anything. Then 20 and they're like, oh, I can't really feel anything. Yeah. And they're all right, do you know what I mean? I ain't had any real bad experiences. I've had a few funny incidents myself where I've got a lot of cramp and stuff. This is back in
That's probably the worst bit, isn't it?
This is back in the day before anyone knew about taking supplements to stop that happening. Do you know what I mean? I used to get real bad there.
Yeah.
Oh, it's horrible then. I'd like yawn.
And then your like jaw locks up and you're like, I can't move.
And then you close your mouth and it feels like there's a real big lump under your chin. Or you just fall into sleep on a night and then your toes go and you're like, what? And all your toes are like going in different directions. So I suppose if you call that a bad experience, then that can happen. As long as you use a little bit of extra taurine with it, you'll be absolutely fine. It's usually a little bit of a depletion of taurine, I believe does that. And it says, can you go through some informed clen, which is, I'm assuming, is the same person because they come through together.
Yeah.
Fat burner, extremely useful. Used to be and I think maybe still in some countries might be, I'm not sure, an asthma drug, which is how it started. I think they noticed a big side effect of it was body fat was burning up quite nicely. Bodybuilders got hold of it, as they always do, drugs with anabolic or fat loss side effects. Yeah. It can be good for muscle retention as well. Did you see that reel where I kept trying to say muscle preservation?
Yeah.
I fucking said that wrong so many times. I kept going, muscle perseverance. Because I was trying to do it pretending to be a girl as well and fucking about. And I kept going, muscle perseverance, and I kept saying it wrong like that. But muscle preservation, it can be good for that. And yeah, I suppose a little bit of a buzz as well when you're tired, I suppose.
It does. I think it does. It's, in a weird way, quite like a nice feeling.
You like it.
I do like it. When you're on prep and you're a bit like, and you get up in the morning and you're like...
I already know what you do in the morning because I remember you saying.
Get up and then have your coffee or go do your cardio and then you're like running up the stairs. It's great.
It's such a rush. Whoa, such a rush.
It is. You're like proper hyped for the day.
Yeah.
It's quite a good feeling.
I might take some Clen now.
Not before.
And yeah, that's about all the information it is on it. Supplement with taurine, I'll usually tell people between 3 and 6 grams a day. I'll usually cover your needs on that. Generally, I'll just usually say 3 grams a day. And if you're a bit sensitive to it, maybe do that twice. That usually stops the cramps. Take it in the morning. I wouldn't recommend taking it after midday because you struggle to sleep.
Yeah.
But if you're taking a bit of it, like I won't take it all in one go in the morning, spread it out like every few hours or something like that. Personally, if I can help it, I'll rarely go over 80 micrograms as the peak dose.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people go to like 120, 160. I have done on rare occasions, very rare. Sometimes go to 100, maybe 120, but fucking once in a blue moon. Do you know what I mean? That's it.
Yeah, not much more to know.
No. I'll usually cycle it. There's a million different theories on how to use Clen, whether you can just run it straight. So a lot of people used to do 2 days on, 2 days off. People do 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. I find personally, I've tried every different way because, like, if you read the science, there's like every one of them confirms that they're all correct or whatever. Like, there's so many different theories on it. In the end, I generally settled with going up in 2-week increments, as you'll know anyway. So that's why I'll usually start about 10 weeks out because then I'll do 20 micrograms for 2 weeks, then 40 micrograms for 2 weeks. So if you do 20 micrograms 2 weeks, 40 micrograms 2 weeks, 60 micrograms 2 weeks, 80 micrograms 2 weeks, there's 8 weeks, and that pretty much leads you into the show from 10 weeks out. Then I'll taper it down for the last little bit once all the fat's off and leading into show day and stuff like that. Peak week, I usually leave in 20 micrograms, maybe 40 micrograms, just because, well, not always. Sometimes if I've got long enough, I'll bring it out, but you get a bit of a rebound from Clen when you pull it out completely sometimes. Some people fucking balloon, like for a week or so. So as a general precaution, I'll just leave 20 micrograms in just in case that happens until we get to the other side of the show and then bring it out. If they're lean as fuck and we don't need to do anything from like 2-3 weeks out, I'll get it out at that point.
You got a bit more time to...
Yeah. I don't want to be messing about trying to get that water back off on peak week.
Definitely.
It's blaring your visuals and everything like that. So I'll just drop that down at about 7 to 10 days out and then coast it into the show on that. Anything else to add?
No, I think you covered it.
That is clenbuterol.
Probably don't take unless you're bodybuilding.
Yeah, you probably don't want to be using that unless you're bodybuilding or like supposed seriously into it. I don't think it's such a bad thing. I definitely won't abuse it year after year after year after year forever.
Yeah.
Because there probably is going to be some downside. They say it is related to some heart stuff if you fucking abuse the shit out of it. But like anything, if you use it a little bit in moderation, sparingly with parts of the year that you're using it.
Yeah.
I've never heard of anyone get an issue from it, put it that way. I've never known anybody personally or heard of anyone either that's actually ran into a heart problem with it. Do you know what I mean?
I'm interested to hear your answer to this question. Opinions on the fit model category.
Live and let live. Who gives a fuck?
Why is everyone ranting about it so much?
Fucking no idea.
You know what I saw? You know, the day after it came out, I saw about 20 different coaches doing like a take on it.
Yeah.
And blah, 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 blah.
I just thought, who cares? Live and let live, man. If people want to be not as developed and not as lean and they want to go and get on a stage, I don't care. The
only thing I think with it is the shows are already so long.
Yeah.
And obviously there's already now about however many height classes there is in bikini with the Tubo shows.
Yeah.
And now obviously they're adding in this one, which is going to make them even longer. So that was, I was thinking, God, there's going to be so many.
I don't go to any Tubo shows.
Yeah.
That's why I was like, I don't give a shit.
Yeah. It's not really relevant to like us as coaches, is it? But
not really. If anything, it's good for coaches because it's going to bring them a wider base of clients.
Yeah.
So like from the coaching industry, I don't know why anyone was complaining.
I think a lot of people were basically saying it's like, because I watched it, because I was intrigued at like what all the coaches and people saying, so like, I'm going to watch some of these videos. And I think some people were saying it's basically like a substandard bikini. It's like for people that aren't really ready to compete, but they want to compete, but they should just wait and actually put the time in and actually get to a decent level.
I did see some of that. So what people won't remember was when bikini and men's physique was first introduced, round about 2012, I think it was 2010, 2012. I can't remember exactly. Someone will correct me on that if they want, but it was round about that time. And then for the first 5, 6, 7 years after that, they got fucking blasted by bodybuilders and physique women and stuff like that and whatever. They just ripped the fuck. It's only just stopped like about 5 years ago, hasn't it? Like, I don't know if you know about all of this. Like, bikini's not fucking bodybuilding. Yeah. Bikini was laughed at as not a serious thing. Men's physique, they're not even showing their legs. It's not fucking real. Who wants to be a little skinny boy? Like, this was constant all of the time, blasting them classes. Now, I know them classes have matured a lot and they're more muscular than there was and all the rest of it. But like, as a bikini person or a physique person, you're blasting that, but that's the only reason you're competing now is because they decided to bring on some new categories, which didn't exist within bodybuilding. Yeah. And without the categories that they brought in like that to move things forward 10 years ago, 12 years, 15 years ago, whatever it was, nobody would know there was anyway because they wouldn't be big enough to compete in the proper classes. That was the proper classes. Do you get what I mean? Yeah, and do you kind of think it's a good thing in a sense of like, obviously when bikini started, that was basically what it was, right? What this new category is. And now it's developed so much. Yeah. So now it's like, because it's developed so much, it's now like they've brought in a better way for people to get involved because of how developed it is when you even start. Yeah, that's like, it's such a big thing to even get into it. But looking at the big picture of the industry, like I don't have an opinion against or for it. Like I couldn't care less. I was happy with how things was. Yeah. I'll be happy with how things are going to be. I just don't care. But like, I just found it peculiar that the people that was getting absolutely blasted, but they won't be aware of it because obviously they're new in the industry or whatever. Like, and now the people doing the blasting about them, they hated that when it was happening to that originally. And you don't know where that's going to lead. And what's happened to the bodybuilding industry by bringing in physique and bikini is it's now brought in a nice entry level, because like before you had to train for fucking 5 or 6 years at least before you could compete as a bodybuilder, because you just would nowhere near big enough. Do you know what I mean? Unless you had crazy genetics. It took me 4.5 years from starting training to be able to step on stage, and I was still not that big. Do you know what I mean? It takes time. But it's brought in, like, if there was men's physique, not that I'd have ever been beautiful enough to be men's physique, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I could have jumped on stage probably after 2 years. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And same with bikini, that obviously often then leads into figure, or I mean, some of the bikini girls are quite big to be fair, so they don't need to go anywhere. But what I'm saying is, in a roundabout way, it's brought more people into the industry that then leads on, because a lot of men's physique then go to classic.
It allows it to grow a bit more.
Yeah, and then they go from classic to if they want to go to bodybuilding, and it just brings more people into the industry as a whole. Yeah. So that as a whole, there's more money in the industry, so there's more opportunity, there's more prizes, there's more this, there's more that. So it can only... Do you know what I mean? Yeah,
and I also think it's kind of like, you know what PCA did with the like toned figure? It's like a bridge. So like if you want to compete and you love competing, but you're not quite at the athletic, you can kind of step in. So I guess it's kind of like now bikinis obviously very popular and well known. It's like kind of
more of an entry. It's an entry.
It's
level.
Like a toned figure but in bikini, in a way, isn't it? Kind of.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Be careful what you're saying about them toned figure girls. They might. But yeah, it's an entry level. Basically, tone's an entry level figure.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah, and this will be an entry level for bikini, and then they'll work their way up into that, where previously they might not have usually bothered. Because you know what it's like, they don't want that much muscle, but then they get a bit of muscle and they're like, oh, actually, I'll get a bit more muscle.
And then they'll go into the other class. Yeah,
so I understand people being upset that it might make the shows longer. That would be quite annoying if I was at a lot of them shows.
Yeah.
But that's my opinion. Just let people do what they want. Why do you need to care? Just get on with your own shit. Do you know what I mean?
It's because they're trying to jump on the, if I get on it quick, push the algorithm, whatever.
Yeah, it's not bringing you down in any way, shape or form, or mocking what you do. So
yeah.
Leave them alone, man.
Okay, your go.
Oh yeah, shit.
You're slacking on the question.
I am
reading.
slacking. Yeah, I'm getting too relaxed. I'm too relaxed.
Too relaxed after your 2 Pepsis and your coffee.
Yeah. I didn't have caffeine for, I think it was 5 or 6 days. I was telling Leah when I come in, I give myself a little caffeine break after Christmas. It does. You do. I don't know why we all drink coffee, because you do feel better when you stop drinking it.
Oh, saying that, I've tried it a few times because I thought, maybe I'm like drinking too much, and I literally can't tell the difference.
Yeah, I noticed my sleep did get better. I did notice my sleep did get better. But this is, bear in mind, I only have 1 coffee in the morning. That's all I actually have. I don't drink these type of Pepsis normally unless we come here, because obviously he supplies us with them. He supplies us. I drink the caffeine-free one at home anyway, I am quite sensitive to caffeine, as we've discussed in the past. I'm quite sensitive to caffeine.
Yeah.
There's one here that just basically says 65 clients on stage is madness. Clap, clap, clap.
Yep.
Which we must have been speaking about in the last episode, because I think that's maybe round roughly what I put on stage last year, I think. Does Dan prefer coaching figure or bikini? No.
You like them both?
I like them all.
Equal.
Figure, bikini, wellness, and fit model. Is that what it's called? Fit model. I'm only joking. I ain't got any fit model clients yet.
I don't know what. Is it called fit model? Oh yeah, it's fit model.
Yeah, I thought it was. Yeah. No, I like all of them. They're all different in their own ways, and I like I say, figure and bikini used to be very different back in the day, like we were just saying. But like the muscularity is there now, and they all. Yeah, I like all of it.
I like bikini. I think it's nice. Cafe.
Yeah, I really like it. It took me a while because I was known for figure at first. That's all I did initially, because I come from NABA, which is where the tone figure actually came from. You were saying about PC, but it was actually a NABA thing that back in the day.
Yeah.
And I was obviously NABA based.
Yeah.
In the back in the day. And they didn't have a bikini class. They didn't have it.
Mad,
just figure. So I'd never seen a bikini before. So it took me a few years to start picking up a few bikini clients.
Yeah.
And then slowly but surely, I have about 50-50 mix now, to be fair.
Toned figure is still
Still your thing. Yeah.
I just really I like it. I think it's.
I love all of it. I think when you see a really good version of anything, I just love it. Do you know what I mean? I just really love it. Which we've got a few coming through this year that are good, actually. It'll be interesting to see when they arrive.
Yeah.
Your go or my go? Was that really a question, or was it just me?
Give us another one, because you've got a few more questions.
That wasn't really a question, was it? Right, so thoughts.
Oh.
That was a bubble. On digestive supplements, e.g. probiotics, glutamine, digestive enzymes.
Okay. Thoughts as in like how useful they are?
Yeah. What do you think? I like them. Go on.
I think as long as the nutrition is in a good spot initially, like the meal timings, the food quality, then I think great. Like they're not going to do any harm. They're always going to help, aren't they?
Yeah, I think so. I don't really use digestive enzymes unless somebody's struggling.
Yeah.
Because I just believe, especially as younger adults, like you don't really need them. If you're pushing the food super, super hard, maybe. But I don't really ever see much of a place for them, really. What I have noticed since I've started getting a little bit more older is they're really handy sometimes, actually, now that I'm not bodybuilding. So I'll have digestive enzymes when I'm like eating steak and things like that, because it just seems to make it go down a lot better. But like when I was younger, I could eat I was an unstoppable eater. I think I had more digestive enzymes in my body than anyone on earth, because I could just eat and eat and eat and eat forever and not feel anything. But that changes because I think someone was telling me, someone who was really into all the science side of stuff was telling me that they do reduce as you get older in your body, and that's why one of the reasons why we don't eat as much. I don't know how true that is, but that's what he was telling me. Glutamine, I have that in there as a staple pretty much with most people anyway.
Yeah.
That's in there pretty much on the daily. Probiotics, as you will probably know, I love for prep. Pre and probiotic mix I'll usually use. I think people's got enough variety and whatnot going through the bodies in the off season, generally eating to keep themselves pooping for all year. But girls do struggle going to the toilet more than boys. There's generally a fluctuation, whether that's for certain times a month with hormones and this and that. But when you start reducing the food, and we get down into them under 2,000 calorie kind of marks, and then into more like 1,500 marks sometimes, 1,300, depending on how hard you're having to push somebody to get in shape, and you're lacking the variety, they just stop going to toilet.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10. So I don't even bother waiting for that anymore. Just at the beginning of the prep, start taking this supplement, and then it's incredibly rare that I can't keep somebody going to toilet regularly through a full prep.
Yeah.
I think between balancing probiotics and a good fibre like psyllium husk, so not a disruptive fibre, but something that's going to help you go to toilet. I think some people think if you eat loads of cruciferous veg, that's going to help, but often that can actually be disruptive and just cause a lot of wind and stuff like that. Whereas if you're using something like psyllium husk, twice a day I'll usually get people to do just a small amount, because I think the recommended psyllium husk dose is like 3,000 milligram a day, I think, and I usually get people taking 500 in the morning, 500 on the night as a general staple, just because it's good for everything all around. Sometimes might have to lift that to 1,000 and then 1,000 if they're really struggling through prep. But yeah, I think balancing between them, and then probiotics usually just come back out in the off season because they're just not really needed. So
I've used that. I know you sometimes don't use this because you can't obviously change the amount of psyllium husk, but the Digest Max.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that.
That's obviously I used that I think before we were working together, and that's got like the psyllium husk, the probiotic, and the digestive enzyme in it.
Yeah, it's got a lot in there.
I just take them all separately now, but
does it come as tablets?
It's literally a powder. But the thing is with that, because obviously it's got the psyllium husk, which goes really like horrible. I know, you have to literally drink it straight away, otherwise it goes like so gloopy.
Yeah. I just found with that one, like you said, I can't control the separate, because if she's trying to move one up and down the other, it's all in there. It's a drink, and it's quite pricey as well for what you get. It is. Whereas the psyllium husk costs fucking pennies from shopping, they last forever. Pre and probiotics you can get off. Bulk powders do the one that I use, I can't remember the name of it now. It's the one in the black packet. But that's the more better one. Yeah. They don't cost that much.
Glutamine's like super
Glutamine's
cheap.
Don't cost nothing.
Yeah.
And I don't really use digestive enzymes anyway, so that's the way I usually approach that. Some people use the Digestive Max though. They'll say, "Can I use that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, if you want," and then just add some other bits and pieces to it. But yeah, it's not my favourite. I've tried it and it's gloopy as fuck, isn't it?
Yeah, you just have to neck it really quick and then you're all right.
So, but yeah, I do like using them, and I think especially with women, it's really handy on prep. When I first started, it took me quite a while to get hold of all that. Like, because the information wasn't particularly present for why. I'm thinking, why are all these women stopping shitting? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we're going back to like 2013 here, and obviously I was just working in the gym, and I was working with like 5 people, so it was very slow. Like, what's going on here? Add this, try that, add this, try that, and then that's what I got to in the end of an unstoppable pooping force of lady prep people. I
think as well, women do tend to struggle more with like
just in
general digestion, like bloating a lot more than like what guys do anyway.
Don't like go on holiday. This isn't any of my clients particularly I'm talking about, just people you talk to in general. Like women will go on holiday and like not shit for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Because of a changing environment or sitting on a different toilet. For me, that's crazy.
Yeah.
All the men in Disney World didn't have that problem. They did not care where they was, what they was doing.
They were going for it.
If Mickey Mouse was out the front door, they was having a ted and they didn't give a shit about it.
Even like going on a plane though, like just changing like things
that
like
can
that,
affect things. Yeah, definitely. I don't know how anyone would go to toilet on a plane, because I'm sure they're getting smaller, them plane toilets. Because I used to be bigger, and I seem to have more problem getting in there now than I used to. I don't know what's going on.
Added more seats on the plane to make more money, probably.
Yeah, more seats, less toilet.
Do you have any clients? Oh, sorry, no. Do you have any experience of training vegan lifestyle clients?
Me?
Well, I don't think you work with people that are vegan, do you? Or last time you said no, I don't work with vegans, only vegetarians.
Not so much really, no. I've had a couple here and there, but like I used to say proper no. Yeah. Because back in the day when I learned nutrition, sounded old saying that, I hate saying that, but obviously I learned all my nutrition 2007, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's where I was like learning everything. They want all these vegan alternatives, do you know what I mean? So to get somebody's protein, you had to basically, like in a proper amino acid range that you would want, you needed to combine like 3 or 4 different food sources to get a proper range of aminos to be able to grow muscle properly, which you needed.
It's just a bit more faffy in terms of
fucking in-depth knowledge of what you can do, and then there's obviously carbs in loads of them and this and that, and like it was a lot of fucking about. So being honest, I just thought I can't be arsed with that. I'm not doing that. I'm not really particularly interested in like the breaking into the vegan market or anything like that. Yeah. So I always just said no. Do you know what I mean? No, I'm not knowledgeable enough. I'm not knowledgeable enough. I'm not knowledgeable enough. And then nowadays there's a lot more flexibility with these, like, not that I necessarily think they're amazing, but there's like alternative foods that are like pretend chickens and pretend this.
I think you can make it work pretty like quite easily now with like all the alternatives that are about.
Yeah, it's not that bad, to be fair.
Yeah,
but, I mean, it depends sometimes. Yeah,
I've got a few veggie clients, but a couple of vegan clients as well.
Yeah, I think I've got quite a few veggies. Like,
yeah, which vegan you can like. I think there's quite a lot out there now where you can make it work pretty well.
I'm not sure how healthy all of it is.
Yeah, I mean, because you end up eating a lot of like stuff that's a bit more like heavily processed to be able to hit the protein and then get everything in. But I do think it's doable.
Yeah.
It just takes a bit more planning and thought probably than what it would.
I've done it, yeah.
So yeah, basically. Your question time.
Oh yeah. Top tips for getting cycle back post show or diet.
Oh, okay. So I feel like we've spoke about this quite a lot before in other episodes, but
yeah, we have. Yeah.
Basically, you want to reduce the stress on the body and get the body back in a healthy place, essentially. So, like getting the food up, not sitting on super low calories, pulling the expenditure down.
Don't drag it out.
Yeah, you don't want to be sat lean for like a very extended period of time, because obviously then your body's not going to be in a position where it can support a cycle. Yeah. So basically, get your food up, keep your food up, pull your cardio down. I
think there's a lot of information. We was on about this before, weren't we? I think off before we was filming or whatever. But there seems to be a lot of information going out, and I noticed a lot more this year than normal for some reason. Which is like, so for men coming after a show, they've not really got a lot to think about restoring much, apart from probably organ health. But like from a hormonal perspective, they stay on TRT, and then the body weight starts to come up, and they can drag it out a little bit. And they're trying to really drag out how long they've got in that off season by not getting too fat too quickly. Yeah. Right? That seems to have carried over a lot more into the women's side.
People trying to stay leaner.
Yeah, and I don't really agree with it. And that I mean to say that I'm trying to slam fat on everybody really quick, but they usually lead to the same road post-show the same amount of time anyways. So like really trying to drag out, and men eat a lot more food than women as well, and they diet on a lot more food. So if you're like trying to really drag out that post-show period and keep as lean for as long as you can and take things slowly, generally you're just going to send a woman round the bend for a start, because
mentally trying to stay in that position.
Mentally trying to stay in that position, trying to stay on the lower calories that you need to kind of do that and all the rest of it. And then you've probably already knocked your cycle off for God knows how many months since you started anyway, because by the time you start getting to lower levels of body fat, and this is generally speaking, so obviously if anyone's watching that kept the cycle through prep, which I've got plenty of clients that do, fair enough, but like you've generally knocked your cycle off, or things are knocked out of whack and out of balance. So then you're trying to like drag that on even longer.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound like a good idea to me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So usually, and what you'll see this, and I'm noticing it now when I'm seeing on Instagram. So you'll see these people that are 3 months post-show and they're now up 8 kilos, 10 kilos. Yeah. Let's say 10, right? They're up 10 kilos and it's taken them 3 or 4 months to get to that point post-show, right? So let's say 4 months.
Yeah.
So they dragged it out, they really suffered, the cycle didn't come back very quickly, they're putting themselves, your training performance not that amazing, they probably mentally feel like they're going fucking crazy as well, blah, 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 all this. And then you see the person B, who brought the food up quite quickly post-show, probably gained quite a little bit of weight out the gate. 4 months post-show, they're also 10 kilos above the stage weight.
Yeah, it evens out.
Because it came up in a fairly quick, But they got to eat a lot more food. It satiated a lot of the crazy cravings that they have post-show. They got the cycle back a lot quicker, so they're in a lot healthier position than person A.
Yeah.
So mentally and physically, they're a lot better. Okay, they probably struggled for the first few weeks seeing the body come up fairly quickly, but they're also 4 months post-show and 10 kilo up, because they came up a lot of that in the first month or two and then managed to maintain a lot of that through the next few months, because once you've got your appetite under control, you can bring things back into order. Because you can usually get someone's appetite under control post-show 3 to 4 weeks after the show. Whereas these poor people that have been made to suffer and stay down, their appetite's probably crazy for months and months until they get to that 4 month point or whatever, really.
Yeah.
So like the option B just is a lot mentally and physically healthier, in my opinion, to get that up. Now, don't get me wrong, if you've got a client that really mentally struggling with bringing the body weight up, that's a different thing, and you can maybe take it a little bit slower with them as long as they know the possible repercussions of taking longer to recover and all the rest of it. But on the other hand, the person who's been restricted, person A, you've got to bear in account they're probably coming off plan quite a lot. And that's got a lot to speak for itself. There's not many people that can stick to it 100% coming through that. So you'd rather be the person eating more. And then from that point, you're ready to take off into your off season for a little bit. You might then drag on another few more kilos over the next few months. And all of a sudden, you're 6, 7, 8 months post-show. You're in the same position the other person was. Then you do a little mini cut, take yourself back down to 9 kilos above stage weight, whatever, and then carry on with your off season.
Yeah, I agree. And you've also got to consider, like, when do you next want to compete and the time frames? Because, like, if you're dragging it out and you're staying lean for, let's say, I don't know, 5, 6 months, whatever, post-show, and then you're wanting to compete again, like, you're not really... You're still in kind of recovering, aren't you? And then you're not getting your period back for, say, half a year or whatever. Yeah. And then you're trying to diet again. You're 9 months post-show, but actually you've only done 2-3 months of actually being in a good spot.
Healthy, and then it's back out
and
again.
Then your body's not responding as well as it maybe should. And then you've only had your period for maybe like 4 or 5 months, and it's just...
you need to come back from a position of strength.
Yeah.
So the faster you can get back to that is better.
Yeah.
And that needs to be focused on a lot more for the care of women, I think, post-show. Then you're a bodybuilder, so you need to stay lean as long as possible, and we need to drag this off season out and blah 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 blah. Yeah. It's just the sake of how you plan it, really. Yeah. And I'll plan it pretty much the same for most people. We're not doing any sort of cut for at least 6 or 7 months after you finish competing, because your body just won't be ready to do it, regardless. And even if it does, we're not going to put you back into that position of deficit, unhealthy, risking your period fucking back off because it's only been 5 minutes since it come back, sort of situation. So as long as you've planned out what you're going to do you know what I mean? Let the body weight come back up if it comes back up fairly quick. Pull things back to maintain that body weight. Once it's maintained, creep things from there very slowly to try and not put too much body weight on and build the calories slowly, as opposed to dragging it out over months and months and months. That's so. But the answer, we went into a bit of a ramble there. But to get basically, that was a long way of saying to get your cycle back post show, you need to take your body out of stress. You need to probably put a little bit of body fat back onto it and put yourself into a nice place with calories so your body's happy and it knows it's not... Because the reason it fucks off is because it thinks it's in danger, doesn't it? Basically.
Yeah, obviously your body can't support growing a child when it's in a position where you've not got enough energy. So it shuts down the process,
and by energy, food.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So, like... Yeah, so you need to be able to let your body know it could support a child if it needed to, so it'll re-kick everything back in. Because I was watching or reading something, and it was saying after only 6 months of shutting your body down like that, if you was to continue with it, then your bones start to take a backward step and starts affecting the health of your insides and all stuff like that. Like
because it's obviously your lack of estrogen. You're then looking at things like osteoporosis and like I've known women that have lost their cycles from like massively under eating when they were younger, and it's led to like things like, you know, early menopause and early osteoporosis when they've been in the 40s and stuff. And it's just like, you
don't want to be purposely doing that to yourself.
No, you want to be like, you don't want things like that to be happening, especially if you're like younger and you maybe want to have like kids when you're older. You want to be like looking after yourself as much as you can, don't you? Yeah, so I don't like that narrative that's being pushed. It seems more prevalent than ever for this year for some reason, unless it's just the people that I follow. It seems very prevalent. So it's worth talking about. It's a conversation worth having. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Was it my turn?
Yes.
How to get over body dysmorphia after seeing your body stage lean for so long. I was basically stage lean all of 2024, which wasn't healthy, and struggling to see my body as normal, even though I'm only 53 kg. Stage weight was 48 kg, and I'm 5'4".
So you're only 5 kilo.
So yeah, 5 kilo up, 5 4, so low, same height as me pretty much. So like low stage weight anyway.
Yeah.
And that was last year. So basically stage lean all of 24.
It's just not ideal competing all through the year.
Yeah.
It's a bad idea to start with. But I'm assuming it was probably a fair season and she's probably learned that now. It's not a good idea to stay stage lean all year. All I'll always ever say to that one is time is your friend.
Yeah.
And you'll just it's a mental adaptation period. My client's probably sick of hearing me saying that, but it's a mental adaptation period where you've gone from looking at one thing in the mirror to looking at another thing in the mirror. You've been working daily towards the one thing that you was looking at, and now it's just vanished in front of your eyes, and there's nothing you can really do about it or should be doing about it. And it's just, you'll just get used to it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's always going to be hard when you've seen yourself looking a certain way for so long, like, and you're constantly looking at like, oh, I've got like a new line here, or this looks good.
Chasing.
And then suddenly you're looking at yourself and you're thinking, oh, that that wasn't tight there before. Like, it's always going to be hard. And like, I think even when I've come off the back of recent shows, like I've still had days I'm like, oh God, like, I feel not that great today. But I just think, I just kind of think with that, it's just thinking like, really, like, what is it bad really? Like, I just sometimes think, you just have to kind of tell yourself and like,
it's hard when you've had that because it's an obsession. You're obsessed on a daily basis with pushing. You
just have to reframe it a bit in your head, I think, and like tell yourself it's a good thing, like it's fine, like I'm not overweight, it's like it's normal. Like, you just have to tell yourself that.
I remember doing it after I finished competing, because you get that used to every time you walk past the mirror looking at your abs or your obliques, or pulling your shorts up and looking at your separation in your quads. You have to really stop
yourself doing that though, after
then
you finish
and then I found myself keep doing it like for a month, 6 weeks after that. Eventually I think, what am I
doing?
What am I even looking at? There's nothing to look at. It's gone. You know what I mean? It's not coming back. But it just becomes habit.
Yeah.
And it will be the same thing. And being stage lean for a full year as a female, that's an head fuck. Do you know what I mean? So I don't blame you one bit for being a bit wow with that. But you will get used to it. You weren't like that before you went into the prep. You was okay with your body before you went into the prep, probably. Excuse me, so you will be all right with it again. And 5 kilos is not that much, really.
No.
11 pound or whatever it is from stage lean. That's not that bad at all. Like, from the previous subject we've just spoken about as well, I would focus on that. And it sounds mad, but just stop looking at yourself all the time. Don't look all the time. Do you know what I mean? Don't look in the mirrors all the time and check for this and check for that. You probably, like, I'll say this to my clients as well sometimes, like, you still got to remember that you probably look better than 99% of the population, even as you are now. Do you know what I mean? So, like, you got to keep that in perspective as well. Not that you don't want to be comparing to other people, but in reality, you're in better shape than like 9.9%, 99.
I know what you mean.
9.9 out of 10 of British humans. Do you know what I mean? So, and try and keep that in perspective.
Yeah.
And just focus on training. Yeah.
And I also think as well, something that, because when you're in prep, you end up, like, I think most girls will relate to this, you end up wearing like clothes like that are like obviously more skimpy, because you like feel good, don't you, in the gym. I'm not saying you need to go in like a massive hoodie or anything, but just getting, because I got like smaller gym clothes when I was on prep, because my gym clothes were like hanging off me, and then you're trying to still fit in the same gym clothes and the same jeans, and then you're like feeling like uncomfortable because you're like, oh, they're a bit tight.
And there's not worse than having clothes that don't fit. It's uncomfy, innit?
That's what I mean. So I think sometimes just like getting your prep wardrobe out and just buying clothes that actually fit you a bit better, and that instantly just makes you feel like a lot better in yourself, rather than trying to fit in your prep clothes that are really tight and don't fit right.
Yeah. Get some baggies, get some what's that brand, Triple XL.
Yeah.
Some baggies and some Automix boots.
Although I do kind of think with that, you always see this in girls, like after they prep, they're like sports bra and shorts when they're prepping, and then it's like after the show, they're just all they wear is like baggy tees. I kind of think like making yourself still training, like, I know I've just said buy bigger clothes, but
but clothes that fit.
Clothes that fit. But I still think we're like not actively covering up all the time, because then you do get just used to just seeing yourself a little bit.
It's hard for me to say. I think being a boy, because I've said loads of times before, as a boy it's great.
Yeah, because you just blow up and you look sick.
Put 2 stone on, you look way better. Bigger, rounder, veinier.
And like guys kind of wear baggier clothes, whereas girls, like all the girls' gym stuff is like tight fitted clothes, isn't it?
I can kind of I'm understanding it. I mean,
you'll go.
Oh, bugger, sorry.
Hopefully that's helped a bit.
Hopefully.
With the body dysmorphia.
Oh, she's probably just told us to shut up. So here's a bit of one which probably sounds like it's coming from a beginner, which is probably quite good. On prep, how do athletes continue to drop weight week on week if their plan stays the same? ? Brackets, surely they're cutting out stuff themselves to get weight loss, no? Bracket.
Well, if you pull your food down and you're in a deficit, that deficit could remain for
Fuck me, I've had them last 20 weeks.
Yeah. Like when we did that that mini cut, that 6-week one, my food didn't change from the start to the end, and I was dropping off same weight every week. So
it doesn't work like you make a change and then it only lasts 7 days and then you have to make another change, which I think is what the assumption is.
Yeah.
It'll last as long as it lasts. Now, generally, at the start of a prep, generally speaking, I'd like to say, if you've done your off-season right, got everything so your body's healthy, the metabolism's good, thyroid's in a good place, hormones are where they should be, and everything's working in your body, and you've not dieted for a decent period of time, when you start in a prep, the first pull down's quite yanky. Yeah, it's quite a big one, because you sat quite a long way into a surplus anyway. Like, if you're up at 3,000, people's maintenance is not usually 2,800 generally. Or to go into a fat loss phase, it wouldn't be to pull down 200 calories. So usually you'll pull down to around about 2,000, 1,800, whatever it might be, just to get the ball rolling. I'd usually don't have to touch that until we get to 8 to 10 weeks into the prep.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I might start the prep, give it a good yank, put 3 or 4 cardios in a week, maybe something like that, 20 to 30 minutes maybe. And then usually that'll just do is rolling and rolling and rolling and rolling. What you possibly might be asking is, then if you keep pulling, from that point afterwards, I think you need to add some variety of higher and lower days, because your body will become stagnant generally with just dropping and dropping. You don't want to just keep dropping it and keep dropping it. Now, sometimes that will work, but you don't want to not fill the person back up at some point, so they're just constantly going down and down and down. So from that point, generally, when you make another pull, you'll then probably start reintroducing higher food days, less output days, relax, like coming away from any fat burners you might be using days and things like that, just to like freshen the body back up a little bit as the body starts to get a bit tired. But yeah, basically the short answer to what you're asking is, you're changing your diet. It doesn't just last 7 days. It can last 2 months, like usually about 2 months it can sometimes last, sometimes not. But I've had people start a prep, I've spoke about this, it doesn't happen very often, but I've had people start a prep and I've not made any changes until like a few weeks before the show, and I'm thinking, well, apart from maybe giving them a little bit of a refeed to make sure we're not just going in too long, but if it's a really relaxed diet, like the calories are not in a bad place, and the cardio's not in a bad place, and the steps not in a bad place, sometimes you don't even have to refresh that because it's that easy. Now, these people are few and far in between, don't get me wrong, but I've had that with people and natural clients as well. Like, they were natural, most of them people that's happened to as well.
I think some people just think the body like adapts to it, basically. So like you pull it down, the body adapts. But obviously, like
it doesn't work like that. It'll keep running for a long time. If you was to make some extremely fractional change, you might only get a change for 7 days. Then you need to change something like that. But you got to remember, the body doesn't work on it's only the people who invented the world that made those 7 days in a week. Do you know what I mean? And 365 days in a year and 30 days in a month. Like, the body doesn't work on that clock, really. Obviously it works on a 24-hour clock of when it needs to sleep, but like, it doesn't know it's been 7 days, I need a change. Do you get what I mean? It'll just run until it stops running, and then you can make some more changes, or sometimes it'll just slow down because it's tired, so you might give it more food for a couple of days, then go back to doing what you was doing, and it'll start moving again, which is quite often the case. And that just comes with time and experience of obviously prepping people and whatnot. Your turn.
Amazing. Oh, sorry. Have you seen anyone come back from injury and regain their size, or will there always be an imbalance? I competed in 21 and 22, tore my ACL playing football. I'm still waiting for surgery. I broke my collarbone playing football 8 weeks ago. I'm done with football, but have I blamed my chances of getting back on stage? I feel like you've had a few clients that have...
remember Charlie?
I was just thinking about Charlie.
Charlie didn't have an ACL.
God, that is
it was gone. She'd had it re-put back on twice and it kept falling off. So she did a full... so if people don't know what I'm talking about, it's Charlie Alexander, she was my client for quite a long time, to be fair, but we won everything, Britishes, universities, through tone figure, into athletic figure, and then into pro figure finally, which last time she competed was with you at the British. Come second against you at the British, didn't she, in the pro class?
Yeah.
She's trying to remember, yeah.
I can't remember. I know I competed with her, but I can't remember.
2023. So you both won the universe in 22. You won the short class, you won the tall class.
Yes, I do remember that, yeah.
And you both 10 pro. Yeah. And the next time you both competed was the British 2023. And you come first and she come second in the pro figure.
Oh, and then we did the Worlds as well, didn't we, together?
Yeah. And she didn't have an ACL there. She torn it.
That is mad.
I don't know if it was netball or dancing or some shit. She was very active. And she didn't have an imbalance in her legs. Her bad leg was actually bigger because she spent that much time on rehab trying to strengthen it. Yeah. It actually put an imbalance to make her leg bigger. Yeah. And the main thing that the physios who were clued up said was, you just need to keep it stable, so you need to keep it strong. So that's one of the reasons she kept training the way she did. So an ACL, although it might be person dependent, you should be okay with, depending on your situation. A lot of it's mental as well, and I don't blame you, to be fair. Like getting back under a bar after you've had such a big injury like that must be scary, to be fair. So I don't blame you on that. But as long as you can get everything working, the muscle around it, and get it working well, all good. And funnily enough as well, Charlie fell off. She broke a collarbone.
Yeah, I remember this.
Do you remember this?
It was like quite not that far from a show, was it?
Fucking 14 weeks out. She'd come off an horse, snapped her collarbone in half, was insistent that we carried on the prep. So I was like, I just entertained it. Like, I didn't think it was, well, I didn't not think it was going to work out, but I just kind of entertained it because I've done some mad shit on preps and not trained for half of it and then trained the second half of it and won shows. So I just entertained it, although I thought, this can't work. So she met... So her boyfriend sent me this video from hospital. She was like 14 weeks out from the British 2021, which is the first time in athletic figure. She come off a massive fucking horse going, it just took off, this horse. Threw her off, fully broke her collarbone in half, so it was like that. Blech. I still remember seeing the video. She was like off red on morphine or whatever. 14 weeks out, he's messaging me because she can't fucking talk or anything like that. Tell me what's happened. And then I thought, fucking hell. She messaged me the next day. Still doing the show, boss. Because this is what she was like, fuck that, I'll just train the other side and I'll train my legs. And I'm like, all right, Charles, all right, whatever you want. Yeah, okay. So I just carried her on doing what we was doing anyway. And I think I pushed her a little bit harder on the cardio, actually, just to get something done while we kind of could, because I didn't know what was going on. And then hopefully filled her back out. And then she was able to start training that side again slowly from about 7 weeks out, 6 weeks out. So she started with like a lateral and then like a back thing. Obviously couldn't do anything above her head. And then she just pumped away on that fucking side on her thingy, filled out, nearly won the British. She comes second.
That's crazy.
To Lee Tofton, which I mean, Lee Tofton she's good, really good, do you know what I mean? She only had her on shape. She didn't particularly have her on size and condition or anything like that. She beat her on shape, which is genetic anyways. And she was fuming.
Charlie was fuming.
She was always mad when she didn't win.
Yeah.
So she was like kicking off like, fucking hell. Not like at Lee or the judges or anything like that, but like just fuming she didn't win. I'm like, fucking, you had your collarbone was hanging out. She had to have it operated on and everything. Your collarbone was fucking hanging out like 14 weeks ago. Calm down, you know what I mean? Yeah, she was a trooper. Like, I've had some fun clients, me. So
to answer the question, you can definitely come back. You'll be all right.
Yeah, collarbone. Sometimes you can see a little bit of an imbalance where it's like, but like, it's usually on yourself. Do you know what I mean? So
like not enough to pick up on, really.
Not so much, really. I mean, if you really look, you can see it, and you don't want to look like deformed or anything like that. But when I tore both my biceps off, and I had them fixed back up at the top, they never looked like they did before, and I hated it, and that's all I could see. Nobody else ever noticed it. Do you know what I mean?
Because it's on yourself, you always pick up on it.
I hated the way they looked afterwards, because like there was a bit missing out the top of both of them. But everyone else was like, "Oh, you've got better peak," and I'm like, "All right," do you know what I mean? So you're going to notice things worse on yourself, and nobody's completely symmetrical generally. There's always something a little bit off, but when you stood up there and there's 12 of you and somebody's got a little lump on the collarbone or there's slightly... Do you know what I mean? Like, you'd be all right, I reckon, depending on how bad it was.
Yeah. If I basically get back to your training and...
Be like Charlie.
Work hard and you'll
fucking
be all right.
Lunatic. Was that you that said that? This one was for me. Sorry, Leah.
That's all right.
I think I'm running out. This one was for me. Do you feel the pressure to beat 2024 success this year? Also, well done on promoting natty females. I'm really pleased with this, actually. Also, well done on promoting natty females. Some of your clients was head explosion emoji.
Yeah.
I'm really happy with that. You know why? Because people always say, oh, Dan's clients are always full of gear and all that. And I'm like, what fucking country, planet do these people live on that? Because I'm the least geary, like druggy, like using person I think of probably everybody.
Yeah.
And I get this, like, they must, because I think cause we've got this reputation of all you lot having such massive round shoulders and like that real bubbly round look. I think everyone thinks that everyone's just jammed full of gear.
Because also, if you look at the girls like Nick, Meg, Ellie.
Yeah. Ellie's completely natural.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like them three.
You're talking about the natties.
Yeah, like you got
Nicola,
Nicola. You've got like a lot of natty girls who
There's
look probably.
More as well. Yeah,
and people would assume they're assisted. Looking at
Ellie
them.
looks more assisted than people that are assisted. Like fucking delts on her, and the quads are just like cartoons. But yeah, thank you very much. Appreciate that. But so far as feeling the pressure for 2024, I actually don't.
Yeah.
In all previous years, and I have this conversation at the end of every year, 2019 was big. I beat it. 2020 was COVID, so there was no shows that year anyway. 2021 even bigger. 2022 even bigger. And at the end of every year, I can't possibly beat last year. Fucking hell. And then every year, somehow, I don't even know how, I have done. And then obviously last year, I got 25 overalls. Well, sorry, I got 24 overalls, and Amy had one, so there was 25 in total. 8 pro cards in the just in the PCA, and loads of other fucking millions of other stuff. I've just given. I'm not measuring against that because that's not going to happen again. I don't think. I think that would be nearly impossible to happen again. So I've actually given, because it's gone from like 15 overalls to 18 overalls to 21 over. Do you know, like over the years? Yeah, I give in on that now.
The thing is, if you're still getting people on stage and they're looking good and you're still winning overalls and you're winning pro cards, then it's all good. Like, the numbers are obviously impressive, but...
The numbers is just my own self-competition, and I put a lot of pressure on myself to want to be able to do better than that. But, like, that's all just dependent on who you happen to be prepping at the time, do you know what I mean?
Like, if you're still getting people on stage being their best, then you're doing good as from a coach.
Some years are probably going to be quieter than others with how many people are competing or whatever it might be. So I've actually just, at the end of last year, I said to myself, I remember saying to myself at the end of it, I thought, don't even try doing that again. I don't even know that happened.
Yeah, that was mental, to be fair.
Yeah, that was a mad one. So no, actually, I've just taken the pressure off myself completely. I think you can get into that mindset and it's quite toxic where you're just always wanting to be better and be better. But like, you can only go so far. You can't just, what am I going to do next? 30 overalls in a year and 12 pro cards. Like, then what's the year after that? Like, there's got to be an end to it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And also I think you want to still enjoy like the process of like, because you've established yourself like very well. Like, you can just enjoy, you can still get really good results and just enjoy it, can't you?
And that's what I've kind of settled myself back down to. I had to talk to myself and like say, because I always do the best job possible anyway. You know what I'm like. I get very, I really want to be very thorough with everything and make sure everybody gets a good experience. And I'm just really doing my fucking best with everybody, basically. And that's all you can actually do.
Yeah, exactly.
It sounds like a thingy thing to say, but like, as long as I'm doing that, they're going to look good. If they look good, some of them will win. And you can't control who turns up and all these different things. There's a million different factors involved. So I'm not saying we're going to do bad or anything like that.
I'm sure there will still be lots and lots of overalls and pro cards.
Yeah, I've got some good girls competing this year. Do you know what I mean? So I'm not worried about anything, but everybody so far is running on track. So yeah, I just like the natty bit. I wanted to put that out there.
Yeah, I think that's good to put across.
I've got a lot of natties competing this year with that new natty PCA section.
Have you?
Yeah. I had loads anyway, Leah. Loads of them
I know,
was natty.
in the just normal
but because
PCA
I never talk about it. Do you know what I mean? You never put out, because I never want to put on, and she's natural.
Yeah.
Because then it just makes everyone else look not natural. Do you know what I mean? So I just never really write it. But we've had loads of natty people for years. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's not real different.
Yeah. I've got quite a few this year doing the natural
stuff.
Yeah, a couple do it. Mostly the PCA. Yeah. Because I think a lot of them like the most. I think I've got one. No, I think I've got one or two clients. One's doing
like UK DFBA and whatnot.
Yeah, one's actually doing a show in Lux. She lives in Luxembourg, so she's doing one of their...
Where's that? Sweden?
Don't ask me. It's a gym. Is it like...
Luxembourg.
I don't know where it is. Is that really bad?
Well, that's a city, innit, Luxembourg, I think, or is
Anyway, she's doing the... one of the shows there that's obviously not a PCA show.
Yeah.
And I think I've got one doing in May doing the UK DFBA.
Oh, it's a country.
Are we stupid?
It says Luxembourg.
Whereabouts is it in the world?
And then it says country in Europe.
I knew it was Europe, but I don't know where. I don't know where on the map it is.
Luxembourg is a small European country surrounded by Belgium, France and Germany.
I was going to say Germany, and then I thought, is that the wrong place?
Yeah, it's just in the middle of Europe. So, well, I didn't know that. I'd have thought it was like one of the capital of Finland or Sweden or something like that. That's what I thought. Yeah. Well, I've learned something today.
There you go.
Yeah, sorry, carry on.
Yes, I've got a client doing a show there.
Yeah.
Because she lives there. And then one doing the UK DFBA, and then all the rest are PCA pretty much.
PCA. Yeah. I'm looking forward to that natty scene this year. I think it's good.
I'm really excited actually to go to some shows this year, because I feel like last year I didn't really go to many because, you know, when you're like on an off season, you just kind of back off a little bit. So I'm quite excited.
There'll be legit natties as well. And I'm not saying the other federations are not, but one thing I didn't know about the natty federations, because I never really thought too much about it, they don't do that much testing. Like at a qualifier, they'll just test like the overall winner.
Right, okay.
And that's it. This is what I was told anyway by one of the nat coaches who was really heavily into the natty scene. And I was like, fuck me, I didn't know that. Obviously, I won't name what federations it is, but they don't do much. Whereas PCA spend a lot of money on testing, and they're going to be spending a lot of money on testing this year because, like, them tests ain't cheap. They're a lot of money. Do you know the lie detectors and everything like that? It works out a lot of money. So, but they're going to be doing, I think, lie detector for every class winner. Right. And I think some piss tests as well. So I think every class winner will either get lie detected or piss tested. Yeah. And then they'll be doing a lot of random ones as well throughout the day, just collaring people. And
I didn't know I don't know why, but I just assumed in my head everyone gets tested.
Same, but they're not able to do that.
Yeah, because I guess that would be a massive job, wouldn't it, to test everyone that enters the show?
Massive job, and it'd be unfeasible expense-wise because it's a lot of money, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm going to answer the assistant's question. The one...
did you get it? Or did I get it?
I got it. Okay. This is for Leah. Would love to follow your journey. You never mention assistance or fat burner usage. To give a full picture, what do you / have you used?
Ooh.
I've said this to you before,
just say it all. Come on.
The only reason I don't talk about this is because, obviously, I've only used stuff going into competitive bodybuilding. And, like, I was training for years and years and years before I even got into competing in 20... I did compete, actually, for the first time natural when I did that show in... When was that?
2018 in London, was it?
Yeah, that's all. You've got a better memory than me. When I did that one, and, like, all the time up to when I did the British and Toned, did a little bit, didn't we, in that prep, the back end a little bit.
Yeah, fractional.
About the last...
5
weeks, something like that. But then all the muscle and all the work I did before that was natural. Yeah. And like 80%, 90% of the off seasons as well. Yeah. So I think I just don't like the idea of someone thinking, oh, you know, you're only there because you've used assistance. Yeah,
I think from your perspective as well, when you've got a lifestyle business, you don't want them to be thinking, oh, well, I need drugs to lose weight and stuff like that. When in a normal lifestyle situation, you do not need drugs to lose weight. They're a tiny little bit of icing, and this is from someone who coaches obviously hundreds of people doing it. They're a tiny little bit of icing at the end of a prep, or a little bit of cleanse through your prep, or like, and you go into abnormal places with your fat loss, basically, right? Yeah. You're trying to get your body down to not natural levels of fat loss. I mean, obviously people do it naturally, but I'm saying like thingy. And then a little bit of change to the look, maybe using a little bit of something anabolic as well. Yeah. And I will speak and say, like, what Leah has used is extremely small and fractional. There's not been a lot gone into that. Do you know what I mean? A very, very small amount for how she looks, which is recommended. Commendable, not recommended. Recommended. It's recommended to take drugs. This is what I was talking about with losing my words, which is commendable for the physique she's got, I suppose. But yeah, it's been very, very fractional. I don't blame you for not talking about it that much.
I think I just don't want people to get, especially lifestyle clients, to think, oh, well, you know, I can't make progress because I'm not. Yeah. Because, like, even if you look at, like, all the mini cuts I've done, like the last one I did, there was absolutely nothing use then, and I lost like, what was it, like 10, 12 pounds. So like most of the progress I've made has been without any sort of assistance. It's
I know people say this all the time, but it really is just a little bit of icing on the cake towards getting on stage and getting that kind of extra little look, especially at pro level as well. Or even since we've been working together, you've always been at top British level. You won the British, obviously, when we started, and then you won the Universe. And then, like, it's not like you were just dicking about. Like, you was at the top level every time we've competed.
Yeah, and I think that was kind of my thought process, because I knew when we were going into that first prep to do the British, I knew I wanted to do PCA, which is a untested federation. And in my head, I was like, if I'm going to do this, like,
just do a little bit.
Yeah, I want to go all in on it. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I think that must have just been the last, maybe, like most of that prep, and all the off season was natural. It was just the last bit, and then that was when I won the British in toned.
Yeah.
And I think we just used a bit of Clen. Did we even use Clen? I'm not even sure.
I don't know if we did.
I don't think we did.
I think we used a little bit of Anavar and then took it back out. I think because
you were like, you're gonna. We were like, we need to pull it. So I think for that first prep, actually, that British one, I don't think we really used.
No, because I think we started and then stopped because you was going to be too big. Basically.
Because we were back and forth between going straight into it.
I think we pulled it. We was going to use it for the qualifier and then didn't, and then I think we maybe put a little bit in before the finals.
Yeah, maybe
something like that. I think.
Yeah, but I don't think we used Clem for that prep at all. I don't think we used any fat burners.
Body was just coming in, wasn't it?
So that first one, when we did the British in tone that we won, that was pretty much natural.
Yeah. So to speak.
But a little bit at the end. And then I guess after that, we used Clen on prep for both the other preps, and a little bit of Anvar.
Yeah.
And then a little bit of growth as well.
Yeah. You just got to be careful what you're doing. And just keep, like, as you can see, Leah's how many years in? Completely feminine still.
10 years.
Everything's completely normal. We've not changed anything, wrecked anything, because you shouldn't need to do that. And that's, as you'll know, and I've spoke about this on here before, it's really important to me that none of these girls are changing their fucking faces or voices or, like, anything else is changing. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's no need to go ham on stuff. It's just a little bit extra for a little bit extra, and just be cautious what you're doing. And if you're competing over a few years, you really need to be spreading that out as much as possible to make sure everyone gets in and gets out cleanly. But just be careful who you take your advice off, because most people don't give a fuck, I would say. They just want to see people get bigger and harder and leaner and faster and stronger.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And they don't really give a shit about the consequence afterwards, or they've been given bad information. As there has been a lot being going about over the last few years, which we spoke about on previous podcasts. Everyone wants to smash in primo and this and that. And
yeah, I think I'd just be very, like, wary about using anything else, especially in, like, a growing phase, because I don't want to.
There's just no need. There's just no need. Unless you want to really push it to some of them crazy categories that are above, then maybe, but that's your choice, isn't it? That's up to them. You know what I mean? But
yeah, that's that.
Don't know if I've got any more.
That's all mine.
Was it?
Wow, that worked out well, didn't it?
Yeah, it's been.
I thought you had a few more, to be fair, so that's good.
I think I did, but I think we did them on the other ones with the.
Oh yeah, we did 2 on that, didn't we?
Yeah. What does an average day in a life look like? What are you looking forward to this year? So we covered them. Clen, there was like 2 questions, but that were the same thing.
Yeah. I forgot we did those.
Some of the others were just nice things people have said. Cycle post show. Oh, people who say you need to treat off-season like prep, always switched on, every box, always ticked, no gram over food. Is this too much?
Personally, I think so, yes. But I guess...
There's nuances to this question, I think.
What level are you at? Like, if you're...
Everyone's got a different version of on it. Do you know what I mean? So, like, I think we've got to be careful what we say is, like, you need to eat everything and you need to train everything and you need to sleep and hydrate yourself and take your supplements and not miss any training days, not miss any meals. Don't be out on the fucking piss every weekend. Like, it depends what your version of on it is. If you're talking about, like, eating to plan 100% and not having anything that's, like, freedom-wise on your plan, like extra food, I think that's wrong. I think I incorporate that in everybody's off-season. Not having off-plan meals on a weekend. Of course, you can have off-plan meals on a weekend. Like, that's all, like, you still need to eat every food. You need to eat 90% wholesome, clean, good food, bodybuilding food. You need to not miss meals and fuck about and dick about for bodybuilding. But you should be, personally, I incorporate freedom calories on top of the plan, so you can eat a bit of chocolate, a bit of crisps, whatever it wants to be. I always say you can have it from Snickers and Mars bars, or you can have it from apples and oranges, like whatever tickles you fancy, but it's there for your own freedom. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And same as the off-plan meals on a weekend. And I think as long as you strike that right, bodybuilding's not that bastard complicated. All you need to do is follow your training plan, train like fuck until you feel like you're going to fucking collapse, like give it your absolute all effort, make sure you get enough sleep, and eat all your food.
Yeah. That's
all it really is. Just make sure you're doing all three of them things. Like, that's going to give you 95, 96% of your progress. Do you know what I mean? The other little bits and pieces, that like tracking things and this and that, and like whatever fire end of a fart you want to chase might give you an odd little extra percentage. But realistically, that's going to give you the vast majority of your progress. Yeah. That's all you need to do. And then when it comes to prep, obviously, for me, you've had your freedom through the off season, you've had your off-plan calories, you've had your off-plan meals, you've enjoyed that. You might go out on the piss every 2 or 3 months or something like that. Maybe the odd glass of wine here and there is not that detrimental, as long as you're not doing it every night or all the time. But then you've had your fun, you've enjoyed yourself, you've been satiated with plenty of foods and stuff that you like, you've not missed out on anything, then just... That's
your time to just go all
Then
in.
you go on prep, and then you can fucking pull everything out.
Yeah.
Personally, I think if you're doing everything clean all year, no deviation, no this, no that, you might do that for a year or two, then you'll just quit bodybuilding. Because it's just, and I watched that happening. Yeah. You know what I mean? All these people that are all in, intense, blah, blah, blah. Few of them last long. They'll just do usually 18 months or something like that. Then they'll be like, fuck this, and then they go do something else.
Yeah, and I also think there's a difference between, like, if your like off-season plan is, you've got all your meals, you've got X amount of free calories, you've got your off-plan meal every week, like, you're still hitting everything to the T if you're doing all those things.
Well, that's what I'm saying,
but you've still got flexibility, but you're still hitting your plan.
It's built in.
Yeah, it's built in flexibility. Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. It's built in flexibility. It's not like, because for me personally, like, I couldn't, if I had no meals out, no calories that I could track into my plan, like, I would not
have lasted.
I would not have done bodybuilding for years and years, because I would have, like, what do you do when you've got like a friend's birthday or a family birthday? Like, obviously you say no when you're on prep, or you go and you don't eat, but you need to be able to do things like that over like 5, 6, 7 years of your life, don't you?
And the thing is, there's no reason why you can't.
Yeah.
It's not to any particular detriment.
Yeah.
And I'll always say, like, so say if you was not doing that and you were just eating all bodybuilding food and going to bed at the same time every day, 7 days a week, blah, 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 maybe you would make 5% more progress. Even if you did make 8% more progress, wicked. But you're only lasting 2 years at the most. So who makes more progress, the one that lasts 2 years or 5 years?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just a long game, innit? So you've got to play it like a long game. If you live it like that, I wouldn't have lasted doing that. Fuck that. That's how I did my bodybuilding anyway. I ate all my planned food. Then I just kind of ate a bit of whatever I wanted on top. It was before anyone really tracked calories or any of that shit. So we didn't do any of that. But I just had sauces to things. I'd have a bit of chocolate if I wanted it. I'd have a bag of crisps if I wanted one. I'd have a couple of extra bananas. Do you know what I mean? Like,
you're not missing anything that's going to stop you progressing.
I didn't ever miss a meal or ever miss a session. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And then when it comes to diet time, that's all gone. Do you know what I mean?
I've just had some new ones come through.
Have you actually?
Yeah.
Extended cut. Extended cut.
I've got 4 more questions.
Well, fucking let's have them then. Oh, that's the point. I'm on our WhatsApp. I'm not even on the...
Okay, there's one I can't say because it's not appropriate for the podcast.
Now I'm going to have to wait. And,
I'll do 3. Through. Right. Is a pre-prep aggressive... Can we do these questions? It's not going to be too long, is it?
No,
is a pre-prep aggressive, calories cut by half, why? And in actual prep, is it a gradual calorie drop? This is kind of what we...
Yeah, we kind of covered this a little bit.
Yeah, you're going to have to drop your calories quite a bit, because if you're in a big surplus and you're going into like a fat loss phase, like if you're on 3,000 calories and you just pull down to 2,700, you're probably not going to get anywhere. Yeah. So it's going to probably feel quite aggressive at the start. Yeah. You're going to have to actually get yourself in.
I get a lot of questions on this, actually. I had a consult the other day with someone asking about it, but it's not abnormal at all. And to get the ball rolling as well, even if you went from like, say, 3,000... even down to say like 1,800 if you wanted to get...
I think that's about what mine was. I think mine was about 3 down to about...
Yeah, when we did the aggressive
18,
mini cut. Yeah. I mean, that's start, and you're going to make sure you're just making progress. And even if you did that at the start of a prep, I still don't see it as that bad, because...
You can then hold that.
Yeah, and you can refeed from that, and you can pull output from that. Whereas if you... All right, let's take it to 2,400, say... okay, we're seeing a little bit of change. The measurements are changing. The body weight's not changing too much. We can't really see anything. It's like, you can do it like that, but I would probably advise starting further out if you're going to do that, as it's a very gradual intake. Whereas if you give your body a little bit of a shock, and like 1,800 to 2,000 calories is still a decent amount of food for a girl to train on, live on, function on, mentally, physically, all the rest of it. 3 cardio sessions a week, maybe 4, 25, 30 minutes. Like, it's fairly aggressive, but then you're going to make a lot of progress through that first half of the prep, guaranteed. And then if you want to chill it out a little bit, you can put a bit more food in, get rid of the cardio, let your body chill, and then maybe finish off the last half of the prep even on the same amount of food, possibly. Whereas if you're making a gradual start, and then you end up chasing your tail a lot of the time. And that's why a lot of people did it, because a few years ago, everyone was doing that, where they were doing it real gradual. And it was just like slow, and then you're chasing you don't want to be chasing your tail at the end. You'd rather be getting ready a little bit earlier and then picking your food back up at the end. I
think some people kind of think, oh, I've gone in really hard, like I'm already on 1,800 calories and I'm like this many weeks out, but it doesn't mean it's going to keep going. Like, you might actually well, you're able to hold that for a bit. It's
not just going to keep going. And like I said to you before, like, I've put people the first pull on the prep and they finished the prep on the same food and just had refeeds all the way through it. So I get what people are thinking, and they're just looking at the calories and thinking, why has it dropped by so much? But you are a long way into a surplus at that. And it's better than that than to take the risk of pulling it down a little bit and losing it. Because, like, you can't just, it's all right working out on a chart or on a graph or like when you're talking about it, but when you're physically moving on a prep, you're on a moving bike. And you don't want to be like, oh shit, we've lost a week there. Well, I'll just give it another week to see if it gives. Oh no, shit, we've lost another week. All right, let's make a slight pull on it then. Shit, that hadn't really done out neither. We'll give it another, and all of a sudden there's 4 weeks gone. Do you know what I mean? You'd rather just put you in a position where you're able to function well with something, still train well, your body's ticking well, it realises there's a big drop being made, sort of start looking for energy to burn and losing your fat and all the rest of it. And you are better off kind of taking off like that. And I'd say especially on a mini cut, but even the beginning of a prep, I don't think that it seems aggressive, but it's not like you're dropping down. It's not,
you're not going straight in at 1,200 calories.
No, if you was going down to 1,400 calories, 1,200 calories, and then doing 60 minutes cardio a day, that's different. But I think if you're just giving your body something to run with and then let it run, I don't see the problem with it personally.
I've just had so many more questions come through.
Bring them.
We'll just whiz through them.
While we're here.
Do you weigh / eat vegetables in prep? Keep digestion good and midsection tight. I weigh my vegetables and my salad stuff in prep, but not in my off season.
Yeah, I don't put a weight on people's diets for the veg. I could do.
I think I've got 100 grams on mine, I think.
Yeah, it may have been put in there at some point for whatever reason, but generally I'll just put greens and salad.
As long as you keep it consistent, though.
Well, that's what I usually say, and it's unless I feel like someone's starting to take the piss with it and ruin the digestion, because you'll see it come up on the check-in. My digestion's gone to shit, and I'll be like, first thing I'll say is, have you started eating more veg now because you're hungry? Yes.
Which is easily done, extra handful of salad, whatever.
Well, then we need to put a weight on it. But 9 times out of 10, I don't really have to do that, because it's difficult, because most of the things are fibre. I want people eating fibrous foods anyway, or cruciferous, should I say, and then there's not barely anything in it. Like, I usually think if you're having to weigh it, you're in a sorry state of affairs usually, so it's rare that I have to get anyone to do that. I'll just say keep it consistent, or if it does come to it, I'll say I've 80 to 100 grams. Yeah,
you just got to, I guess on this, I mean, most people know this, they're already prepping, but you just got to obviously look out for, like, you don't want to be going and whacking in loads of like coloured vegetables.
Yeah.
It's going to whack a load of calories in partway through your prep.
Yeah. That's why I just usually say greens, but people start adding like beetroots and peppers and things like that, and like they start to add up. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I did have them, but I had them from the start and kept the weights consistent.
Well, that's what I mean. So it doesn't matter.
Yeah. I did weigh those, because obviously you can get a bit carried away with, like, you're whacking in beetroot, before you know it, you're like 80 calories up.
Yeah, and then if you have a couple of peppers, another 100 calories up or whatever it is, and all of a sudden you took 200, 300 calories out of your diet.
You just don't want to be adding them in all through your prep, do you?
Yeah. So I'll usually, when I set someone off on a prep, I'll just tell them that.
Yeah.
And then just thinking, or if something looks a bit fishy, but I suppose I could get everyone to weigh, but I don't.
Yeah, I don't think it matters. Stuff like spinach, like, really.
That's what I mean, spinach.
You're going to have to eat a lot of spinach to gain calories from spinach, aren't you?
Yeah.
How to keep muscle in prep, how to lift same heavy loads in prep, or what to lift, right? So basically, how to keep muscle in prep, how to lift same heavy loads. I think as you go, the first half of a prep, I think you probably like, you're not really fatigued or anything. Like, you probably are going to be lifting.
Sometimes get stronger.
Yeah, sometimes when you drop a bit of food off and you feel a bit more energetic.
Fresh, yeah. Sometimes people say that, think, I'm going to get fatigued with a bit of cardio and less food, and like, no, you just get fitter and you feel fresher and you get stronger sometimes.
Especially when you get your fitness up and you start things like your leg press and your deadlift, you actually can
squats,
yeah. But I guess back end you might
and that's when you just start tinkering with the volume a little bit. So I'll usually person dependent. I'll wait for it to flag up on a check-in, but anywhere from 8, 7, 6, 5 weeks, I'll just pull a lot of the sets out with the training, and I might pull it down by, I don't know, 30% maybe, sometimes even more depending on how much volume they've got, and just concentrate on going into the gym, nailing that as hard as possible, then go home, because it's only muscle retention at that point. Yeah,
because key thing there, you just want to make sure that your training intensity isn't slacking.
Yeah, so if you've got less sets to go at, it's less mentally a problem and less physically a problem, and that's what keeps the muscle. Retaining muscle is actually easier than you think.
Yeah,
like,
it's quite hard to lose muscle.
It's quite hard to lose muscle, yeah. You have to really fuck your training up and really diet somebody into the floor.
Yeah.
To like lose actual muscle. You might look flatter, or you might not be as big as you think you was, because a lot of it was fat. That's how I haven't got any glutes. I've lost the muscle off my glutes. That one muscle, love. You know what I mean? That one muscle. That was batty. Do you know what I mean?
I actually stopped when I get to the real back end of a prep. I just stopped logging my weights, because I think sometimes when I was really seeing the weight drop, it was getting in my head, and I was like, oh God, I can't deal with it. So I just stopped logging.
Training as hard as you can.
Yeah.
Because it's the last 4 weeks is where it really starts to go down the pan, really, innit? And there's not a lot you can do about that.
Yeah, you just have to go in and try as best you can.
Well, I think you're putting yourself at risk trying to sometimes, because they're so low on body fat, like your tendons and things like that. Like, you're putting them at risk sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. This is the one I can't read. Okay, 2 more. Does Dan give good feedback to clients on check-ins or give praise?
Well, that's a random one.
Well, yeah, otherwise I wouldn't be with you as a coach if you didn't give me very good feedback.
Well, I can't just give everyone good feedback. I've got to give honest feedback.
Yeah.
I think they mean like good feedback as in like...
I thought it meant like constructive check-in feedback.
No, I think they mean...
like
they might
feedback.
Do actually.
Oh, I thought it meant was the feedback like just generally useful.
Yeah. I don't know if they mean, because they've said praise. I didn't know if they meant like, oh, you're doing amazing, blah, blah, blah.
I think with that, you do, but only not on it wouldn't be like an ongoing thing. But you've said that yourself on the podcast. Like,
yeah, I'm a lot better than I used to be. A lot better, because I didn't used to give any really positive things. I just used to nod.
Nod and walk off.
Nod and walk off. That's what I used to do, rightly or wrongly. We have spoken about this recently, actually. I try hard to recognise and say it, which I never used to do. I used to think it.
Yeah.
I think, oh, they're smashing it. That's nice.
Yeah.
And then not saying that. And I realised, no, people need to know that they're doing all right. So I'll do my best. But if you're being a shit, I'll tell you you're being a shit. If you're doing really well, that's abnormally good, I'll say it, or whatever. Or if you look, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Say things.
Yeah, I agree. Just to the point.
You can't just be like, oh yeah, you're doing amazing. Oh yeah, you're doing amazing. If you're just doing normal, if you're just doing what you're meant to be doing, that's not amazing.
Yeah.
That's just normal.
Yeah, I agree. Last one. Tips on fatigue in prep and not sleeping. I think when you get to the back end of a prep, you
just don't.
You can't really avoid this.
No, it's rare. Some people do though. Then they'll sleep, and I think, how are they sleeping like 10 hours? I don't get it.
Yeah,
I used to struggle so bad to sleep.
I can go to sleep fine, but then I'm just waking up like every hour. I'm like awake. I'm awake.
Yeah.
Got to the point where I was like getting up in the night and just sitting on the sofa. Me and Will were just sat next to each other on the sofa, like, because we were like, we just both can't sleep at this point.
Yeah, it's horrendous. But I don't know. People seem to do quite well using melatonin. As a supplement for bed. Like I said, don't take any stimulants after dinner time if you can help it. I know people like run on caffeine at that point and whatnot.
That's a good point, actually, because at the back end of the prep, you're probably smashing a bit more coffee, a bit more Monster. Maybe just keep your eye on the caffeine intake as you get to the back end.
You're not getting any dopamine from anywhere. That's food or usually any other places probably. So you're scrolling on social media a lot more, which stimulates your brain. Try not to some people do the cardio like right before bed sometimes. They'll be out late as fuck doing the cardio or finishing the steps, which isn't really giving you the opportunity to wind down. I know not everyone can always help it because they've got busy lives and trying to fit everything in and whatnot.
That's something that actually helps me a lot. Like I can't, if I train in an evening, like Will trains at like, 5:30. Sometimes I'll go and train with them and then I'm like buzzing and I'm like, can't settle down.
That's what I'm like.
And I haven't had any caffeine. Like for me, I need to I need to be like lay on the sofa like a good hour and a half before I'm going to bed, like chilling. Otherwise I'm like not, I can't sleep properly.
I'm the same as that. I can't train on it. I can't even train on a night full stop anymore. They're just the edge to go and train on night. I think,
I'm like that.
Bullshit. I want to train in the morning.
Yeah.
I think that happens. I used to look at old people that train first thing in the morning. I used to think, why do they all train first thing in the morning? But that's maybe why now.
I don't like training evening either.
No, anytime after like 2ish, I'm thinking, fucking bollocks. I don't want to, obviously I would do, but I don't really want to.
Yeah. Yeah, that's that. Wrapped up. That was a good one.
Just as I finished my can of pop.
Good timing. Amazing. Hopefully that's been helpful and it's answered. Oh, we answered lots of questions.
Yeah,
there.
we did. We had a good go there.
Yeah, bro. So yeah, we're all set.
That was our 30th episode.
Our 30th birthday episode.
30th birthday for Leah, because every episode's a birthday. Woohoo!
Amazing. So maybe let us know if you have any questions or drop us a like, drop us a comment. Make sure you're following us.
There you go. You got it on this one.
I've got it. And we'll be back soon.
Yeah.